Phoenix, Arizona, $1.5 to $2 billion in annual underground gang economy. This is the final city. Episode 10, the last piece of the puzzle. We've covered Chicago, LA, New York, Atlanta, Detroit, Philadelphia, Houston, Miami, Baltimore. 9 cities, 9 different economic models, $100+ billion in combined underground economies. Phoenix completes the picture because Phoenix is the connector, the bridge between Mexican supply and American heartland. The desert corridor that moves drugs from border to everywhere we've already covered. When Chicago gets methamphetamine, it came through Phoenix. When Detroit gets heroin, it passed through Phoenix. When Midwest cities get fentanyl, Phoenix was the gateway. But Phoenix has something unique the other cities don't. Phoenix is destroying itself from the inside, not through violence, through infrastructure sabotage. $500 million to $1 billion annually in copper wire theft that's systematically dismantling the city's electrical grid, traffic lights, streetlights, telecommunications. This is Street Economics, the finale. Let's follow the money through the desert corridor one last time. Phoenix's economy breaks down into 3 operations: the border corridor, the infrastructure sabotage, and the distribution hub. The border corridor operations, $800 million to $1.2 billion annually. Phoenix is 180 miles from the Mexican border, close enough for easy smuggling, far enough to avoid border enforcement intensity. How drugs enter Phoenix: smuggled across Arizona border at Nogales, Douglas, Yuma, Lukeville, driven north on I-19, I-10, Highway 85, Highway 95, arrive in Phoenix metro area, stored in warehouses across Valley, Mesa, Tempe, Glendale, Surprise, distributed to entire American heartland. Phoenix is the first major city north of Arizona border. It's where border smuggling operations transition to highway distribution networks. The drugs flowing through Phoenix: methamphetamine, Mexican super labs produce 90% of U.S. meth; heroin, Mexican brown heroin for Western U.S. markets; fentanyl, Mexican cartels now manufacturing from Chinese precursors; cocaine, still Colombian source but through Mexican cartels; marijuana, declining but still flows through. Phoenix's role: receive from border, store temporarily, ship to heartland. From Phoenix, drugs go to Denver, 600 miles I-25 corridor; Salt Lake City, 650 miles I-15 corridor; Albuquerque, 450 miles I-40 corridor; Las Vegas, 300 miles Highway 93; Los Angeles, 380 miles I-10 west; Texas cities, 400 to 1,000 miles I-10 east. Phoenix is the hub connecting Mexican border to American interior, the desert gateway to the heartland. The infrastructure sabotage economy, $500 million to $1 billion annually. This is unique to Phoenix. Organized theft of copper wire from city infrastructure. What gets stripped? Electrical substations, copper wire transformers; traffic light systems, copper wiring throughout; street lights, copper cables underground; telecommunications, copper phone lines; construction sites, copper plumbing, wiring; vacant buildings, copper everything; railroad signals, copper wire. The copper gets sold to scrap metal dealers, no questions asked; smelters, melted down, untraceable, exported to China, shipped as scrap metal. Scale of theft: 1,000 plus reported copper thefts monthly in Phoenix Metro. Average theft value, $5,000 to $50,000. City repair costs, 3 to 5x theft value. Total annual damage, $500 million to $1 billion. Phoenix is literally being dismantled. Traffic lights dark for weeks. Street lights stolen faster than replacement. Entire neighborhoods without power for days after substation raids. Local distribution operations, $200 to $400 million annually. This is Phoenix's own local drug market. Not as large as other cities we've covered, because Phoenix has smaller population, but still $200 to $400 million serving local demand. Total, $1.5 to $2 billion flowing through Phoenix annually. Phoenix completes our geographic coverage. Houston, border to America, 4 hours from Mexico. Phoenix, desert corridor, 3 hours from Mexico. Miami, international money laundering. Baltimore, East Coast imports. Chicago, NYC, Philly, Detroit, Atlanta, LA, major consumption markets. Phoenix is the Western Gateway, the desert connection between Mexican cartels and American heartland cities. Let's follow a dollar from Mexican border to Midwest distribution. Level 1 border mule copper thief makes $500 to $3,000 per trip theft. Border mule drives drugs from border to Phoenix. Single trip pays $1,000 to $3,000. Drive 3 hours, deliver drugs, drive back. If caught, 5 to 10 years federal prison for drug trafficking. But thousands of people do it because $3,000 for 6 hours work is $500 hour, better than any legitimate job available. Copper thief strips copper wire from infrastructure. Streetlight theft yields $500 to $2,000 in copper. Traffic light system yields $5,000 to $20,000. Electrical substation yields $20,000 to $100,000. If caught, theft charges 1 to 3 years state prison. But getting caught is rare. Phoenix police can't stop 1,000 plus monthly thefts. Annual income $25,000 to $75,000. Border mule making multiple trips weekly, or copper thief making several thefts monthly. Working class income, high risk, completely replaceable. Level 2, stash house operator, scrap dealer, makes $5,000 to $15,000 per week. Stash house operator runs house where drugs are stored after border crossing before distribution. Legitimate house in Mesa or Glendale. Family living there. Garage holding 500 kilos of drugs. Gets paid $5,000 to $10,000 weekly to provide space. Scrap dealer operates legitimate scrap metal business. Buys stolen copper at 40% of legitimate value. No questions asked. Processes 1,000 plus pounds weekly. Sells to smelters or exports to China. Makes $5,000 to $15,000 weekly profit. Weekly income $5,000 to $15,000, $200 to $750 annually. Upper middle class income, moderate risk. Stash house operator faces conspiracy charges if raided. Scrap dealer faces receiving stolen property but hard to prove knowledge. Level 3, Phoenix distributor, copper theft organizer. Makes $50,000 to $150,000 per week. Phoenix distributor coordinates receiving drugs from border, storing in Phoenix warehouses, shipping to heartland cities. Manages 5 to 10 stash houses. Coordinates drivers to Denver, Salt Lake, Albuquerque, moving 500 to 1,000 kilos monthly. Copper theft organizer runs crews of 10 to 30 thieves, identifies targets, substations, traffic systems, construction sites, provides tools, vehicles, buyers, takes 50 to 70% of theft proceeds. Crew strips $200,000 to $500,000 monthly in copper infrastructure. Weekly income $50,000 to $150,000, $2.5 million to $7.5 million annually. Wealthy, major federal state target. Phoenix distributor faces RICO, multi-state trafficking charges. Copper organizer faces organized crime charges. Level 4 Arizona coordinator makes $150,000 to $400,000 per week. Coordinates entire Arizona corridor, border crossing operations, Phoenix storage network, distribution to all heartland cities, money returned to Mexico. Moving $100 to $200 million in drugs annually through Arizona corridor. Weekly income $150,000 to $400,000, $7.5 to $20 million annually. Operating multi-state smuggling and distribution network. Constant DEA surveillance. Multi-year federal investigations. When indicted, everything seized. Level 5 CJTEL leadership. Operates from Mexico. At the top are Sinaloa Cartel ANG, Jalisco New Generation Cartel leaders who control Arizona corridor. They don't enter U.S. Coordinate from Sinaloa, Jalisco, Sonora. Annual income $50 million to $500 million, cartel leadership. The money flows up and outward. Border mules $2,000 becomes stash house operators, $8,000 becomes distributors, $75,000 becomes coordinators, $250,000 becomes cartel millions. Phoenix's difference. Copper theft runs parallel to drug economy. Different criminal networks, different targets, but similar structure. Thieves at bottom, organizers at top, both making millions from infrastructure sabotage. Why did Phoenix become the Southwest Corridor hub? Geography, demographics, and growth created perfect conditions. The geography, 180 miles from border, Phoenix is perfectly positioned, close to border, 3 hours from Nogales, far from border enforcement, past checkpoints, first major city north of Arizona border, central location for distribution to all directions. From Phoenix you can reach Denver, 600 miles north via I-25, Salt Lake 650 miles north via I-15, Las Vegas 300 miles west via Highway 93, LA 380 miles west via I-10, Albuquerque 450 miles east via I-40, and Texas 400 to 1,000 miles east via I-10. Phoenix is the star hub. Roads go everywhere from Phoenix. It's perfect for distributing to the entire western and central U.S. The border crossing points. Arizona has multiple border crossing points. Nogales, busiest, Douglas, Naco, Lukeville, and Yuma. Each crossing has different enforcement levels. Cartels rotate between crossings. When Nogales has heavy enforcement, use Douglas. When Douglas cracks down, use Lukeville. Arizona border is harder to secure than Texas border because it is longer, more remote, and has desert terrain. This provides more smuggling opportunities. Phoenix grew from 1 million people in 1990 to over 5 million in the 2020s, making it the fastest growing major metro in America. This created constant construction, perfect for copper theft at unguarded sites, infrastructure strain, can't build fast enough, stretched police resources, can't patrol everything, and a warehouse explosion, thousands of new industrial buildings. Rapid growth created chaos that cartels exploit. There are new construction sites daily, new warehouses weekly, and police can't keep up. China pays premium prices for scrap copper. Phoenix thieves sell to scrap dealers. Dealers export to China, no questions asked. Copper wire theft economics. Steal 1,000 pounds copper wire from a substation. City loses $50,000 in wire, labor, and equipment damage. Thief sells for $3,000 to $5,000 to scrap dealer. Scrap dealer sells for $8,000 $10,000 to smelter export. China pays $12,000 to $15,000. Everyone makes money except the city, and the city can't afford to keep replacing, so infrastructure stays broken. I-10 runs from Los Angeles through Phoenix, through Tucson, El Paso, Houston, and New Orleans to Florida. It's the main southern corridor across America. Phoenix sits on I-10 exactly where it connects California west, Texas east, Mexico south, and the Mountain West north. It's the perfect position for distribution in all directions. The combination created the perfect desert gateway, close to border, multiple crossing points, explosive growth creating chaos, central hub position, copper export market, I-10 corridor access. Phoenix became inevitable as the southwest corridor to the American heartland. Phoenix's copper theft economy is unique among cities we've covered. This isn't drug money. This is infrastructure destruction money. Phoenix police statistics: 1,000 to 1,500 reported copper thefts monthly. Actual thefts estimated 2 to 3 times higher, as many go unreported. Total, 15,000 to 25,000 copper thefts annually. Average theft value, $5,000 to $50,000. Total stolen copper value, $75 to $250 million a year. This isn't random individuals. Phoenix copper theft is organized. Stolen Phoenix copper's journey. 1. Thief strips substation, $50 damage gets $3K. 2. Sells to scrap dealer, $3 paid. 3. Dealer processes melts, $8K value. 4. Exports to China as scrap metal, $12 received. 5. China uses in manufacturing. Phoenix is trapped in infrastructure collapse spiral, Copper theft causes damage. City can't afford repairs. Broken infrastructure creates more theft opportunities. Cycle continues. Phoenix's unique situation, two parallel underground economies. One drug corridor, 800 me to 1.2, copper theft, 500 me $1. Different criminals, different targets, but similar structures. That border mule making $2,000 to drive from Nogales to Phoenix, he's part of supply chain that ultimately generates billions across all 10 cities. That copper thief stripping Phoenix infrastructure for $1,000, he's destroying American cities to feed Chinese manufacturing demand. This is street economics, from corporate structures to desert corridors, from street corners to luxury penthouses. The money flows through the desert, through the cities, through the system, and Phoenix is where it all connects to the American heartland. We followed the money from Mexican border to American streets, from production to distribution to laundering, from the $30,000 per year corner boys to $100 million per year cartel leaders. The complete picture of America's underground economy, $100+ billion annually. Employing hundreds of thousands, operating in every major city, connected across the entire country. Subscribe for what's next. New series, new underground economies, the informal economies hiding in every neighborhood.